one that can do SiteMinder authentication with LDAP authorization, SiteMinder authentication with JDBC authorization, and both of those scenarios will also have a JAS fallback or an LDAP fallback using Spring's multiple provider options. So that's all coming soon to a web app near you. And all right, I think there was one other thing. Yeah, okay, so the next thing is, of course, the reclaim. All right, you might have noticed that it's wizard based, okay? I've been too lazy to put the back and cancel buttons in, but it's certainly available. Now, the way we've achieved the wizard is by using actually Spring Webflow. So one of the reasons why I chose Struts2 is a couple things. Not so much because it's Struts2, but because of all the cool toys you can plug into it. So the jQuery plugin is already implemented here. It basically gives you jQuery in tag lives, which is really cool. So it cuts down the JavaScript immensely. We also have site mesh templates. So you can have site mesh. You can also have it set up with themes. So here's all the CSS. There's various templates you can use with CSS, and here's all the templates here that are already built in with AppViews. So all you have to do is follow how they create these templates, and you can build a completely different look for this web app pretty fast. So it's also using the site mesh templating engine. So this is the template here for the entire site. Each page is just dealing with its own HTML. It has nothing to do with how the headers and the footers are all laid together with the menus, which the menus are also role based. So when you build a menu, you have a menu config file, and then you set the menu up here and you set it to which roles get to see which menus. So there's a lot of nice things built into AppViews that we can certainly take advantage of for doing OIM. It was just a matter of OIMizing, AppViews's pre-built applications. So the other thing we did here now is we implemented one of the other Struts2 plugins happens to be using Webflow. Now the downside is it still uses Webflow version 1, but that's actually turned out to work pretty well, because from a workflow, from a flow standpoint, you don't really need anything very complicated. So basically it does a really good job of just redirecting like a traffic cop. So we can take a look. It's here. So you would define the flows. Okay, this is the actual one that answers the challenge questions. Okay, and then you would have down here, I created separate struts includes for each one of these. So here's the struts package that goes along with it. So you see how your flow has enter user ID, and then when you submit, it goes to user ID save, and then that calls this Struts2 flow adapter, which is basically the plugin, and then it runs your action class for you by mapping these transitions to your action classes over here, and then it just redirects through your action classes because you included this action beam. This flow adapter will handle all the bouncing around based on these transitions for you. So like for example, what's going on here is it calls your action class, and then if you return input, it'll return up here and then just keep putting the page in. So if you don't like the user ID, it'll just keep going through here until eventually the validation works, and then it branches you to here. Now you'll enter your questions, and this will do the same thing. It'll just keep looping through here. As long as your action class returns input, you'll keep going error messages and retry, and then eventually they'll get it right and they'll come through here. So it actually works pretty well, and Webflow is a relatively common thing that most people know. It's just really a matter of learning how to tie it into your Struts2 action definitions. So here's how you do it. And we also have, you can see here too, where we're implementing our OIM client stack. So this is where we have our OIM login, our OIM logout, and our OIM prepare methods get called in our action class through our interceptor. So we create, so anything that's using OIM, we create an interceptor stack with our client, and then all the action classes here can use it by default. So that's how you use Struts2 to tie up the interceptor that we're using for OIM. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers everything it does. So essentially what we have here is a Struts2 Spring Hibernate application with Spring Security, site mesh templates, and a couple of OIM interceptors and a wrapper to just make things a whole lot easier. Okay, there you have it.